But now that we bring this up, tell me about your recent experience to the hospital.
This is good. So I've always had that thyroid. I've had the thyroid issue since the growth hormone experiment. And Leo, you know me, man. I'm honest. I'm going to go into a doctor's office. I'm going to tell him what I do. And what nationality are you?
I'm half American and half Arab.
Okay. Well, this guy was like Indian as Indian can get.
Okay.
His last name was Patel.
Yeah, Patel is a very Indian name. Okay. That's true, actually.
So he had good reviews online, but I did catch some things about, him trying to push a vegan diet on people. So I'm like, whatever. Like, there's no way this guy's going to do that shit with me, right? Yeah. So anyways, I go in there today, and I haven't seen a doctor in years. They take my blood pressure. My blood pressure is through the fucking roof because I took an Adderall. I rarely ever take Adderall, dude. Like ever, like once a month. And I just started taking it a couple months ago. Before I've never even used it before, but I just started it because my buddy.
How many milligrams do you take?
15 mgs.
Okay.
So I cut them in half. It was a 30. I cut them in half. I usually use maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and I never even touched this stuff till recently. I had to wake my ass up at 8:00 today to get ready for this damn appointment. I usually sleep till 1 to 2 p.m. So I took an Adderall. They took my blood pressure, and it was 180 over 120. And they were like, "Is your blood pressure always this high?" I'm like, "Yeah, pretty much." And then they were like, "Oh, okay, right." So the lady was super cool, though. She wasn't the doctor. She was the nurse practitioner or whatever. So I go into the room with the Patel guy, and he was like, "So why are you here?" And they pulled up all my blood work, dude, because I used LabCorp, and I guess they were able to pull up all my LabCorps from all the years. I'm like, "Oh, great." Right. So I go in there to talk about being my thyroid. That's it. That's all I want information about, right? And dude, I know enough about thyroid, but I said I'm going to go see a specialist. There has to be something a specialist knows that I don't know, right? So I go in there with the information and I tell them everything. My thyroid is fine. I did a growth hormone experiment. So he cuts me off right in the beginning. He's basically, to make a long story short, we were in there for an hour of this guy, and I'm a nice guy. I should have just got up and left. Of him telling me that I should convert to a vegan diet. My cholesterol levels are terrible. I'm going to die early if I keep this up. He said, I go, "Listen, dude," I said, "I support my wife and my kid with what I do." And I said, "This is my passion." I said, I wouldn't even want to live another day if you told me I couldn't do this shit. He was like, he just completely just disagreed with, went with his way. He goes, "You can do it natural and you could do it vegan." He goes, "I know the best bodybuilders and athletes in the world are vegan." He goes, "You need to watch," and vegan and natural. Netflix. He goes, "You need to watch Game Changers."
Oh my God.
Like, I was like, "I'll watch that thing, but I'm not going to," I was like, "I'm not going to." So, dude, he's telling me, I'm not kidding you. So I'm telling him, like, "Listen, dude, I do this for a living. Like, there's no bodybuilders in the best in the world that are natural." He goes, "Yes, they are." He goes, "They're vegan and they're natural." I'm like, what? So he gives me a name. He gives me a name of this guy. He was like, "Look him up," or whatever. He was like Nemia Delgado. Have you heard of him?
No.
He has like 700,000 followers on Instagram. Dude, the guy, I almost fucking fainted, bro. He's like 160 pounds. He's like lean but soft. You know how like the vegans have like that, they have that like spongier look?
Yeah.
He's lean and he looks great for being natural and vegan. But this guy was trying to tell me he's like the best bodybuilder in the world. So I'm like, and then he goes to tell me, he goes, all the athletes, powerlifters, all the athletes in the world, all the best ones are now converting to veganism and they're natural. I go, "Wait, so you think like the people that are being tested are not like that means they're natural, like they never take anything?" So this guy was trying to tell me that everyone could do it natural. Like everyone's natural, everyone could do it natural. You could do it natural. You could continue to make your living and do what you want to do natural. You could be whatever. So I'm already like, oh my God, what did I get myself into, right? So anyways, I didn't learn a fucking thing in over an hour. This motherfucker talking my ear off about this and that, right? then I get out to pay, right? And I'm like, whatever. So, because I'm going to self-diagnose, I'm going to buy the blood work tonight on Private MD Labs. I'm going to go get my blood work done with my thyroid, with my medication that I'm on now, and see where I'm at. And I'm going to adjust it myself. But I thought, you know what? Maybe a thyroid specialist could give me some insight on why the growth hormone fucked my thyroid, if anything else, because I was like, listen, dude, like I don't feel or look any different with a shitty thyroid versus a normal thyroid, because I've been in range before and I've had a shitty thyroid and I don't feel or look any different. I thought that there would be some insight of him telling me like why that is, and absolutely fucking nothing, right? Everything I knew I should have done myself, because, you know, I do this with my clients, dude. If my clients, the first thing I do is when a natural person hires me, if somebody's natural and they don't want to take drugs, I said, that's fine, but send me your blood work. And if they have like a testosterone deficiency or a thyroid deficiency, I make sure that they're in range. Not an exponential amount, like a super amount, like, you know, bodybuilders, but just to make sure they're in range so they can make progress as a natural. Mm-hmm. So I've diagnosed, or not diagnosed, but I've seen bad thyroids and I've put people in range easily. You know, you start low, get your blood work tested in 4 to 6 weeks. If you're still low, add a little bit more and see where you're at. Once you hit that range, you're done. So I already know this, right? So I learned absolutely fucking nothing, right? So anyways, of him preaching to me, right, the whole time. So I go out to pay, and I was told it was $190 for the visit, $190, because I don't have insurance, so I'm paying out of pocket, right?
Oh.
So she goes, I asked her when I said, how much will this visit be? She goes, it'll be $190. I go to see the doctor, I said, go back, whatever, this and that. He talks my ear off. I come out to pay. She goes, it's $220. I go, you just, and dude, I'm usually a nonchalant guy. Like, I'll usually just be like, whatever. But I was pissed. I was like, no. I was like, you told me $190. I said, if you would have told me $220, I would have paid $220, no doubt. Dude, I wouldn't. I was like, you know what? I said, that's bullshit. I said, let me talk to the doctor. He comes out, we're arguing and shit. I'm like, dude, you didn't even tell me anything. I said, you were talking basically the whole time. Like, we went over because it was like, we went over because of you.
I didn't you because you went over?
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
my God.
It was like they charge you every minute you go, and I'm like, first of all, you didn't tell me that. He was like, they were like, it was a level 5 appointment. You went over an hour or whatever. I'm like, listen, you talked about my thyroid for fucking 15 minutes. Everything else was me about, you know, and I was like, nice. Dude, I was nice in there, man. Like, I was like, yeah, man, I understand. I said, I'm not a dumb bodybuilder. I said, I understand that there's health effects. I said, I understand that what I'm doing now will affect me later in life. I said, I understand this, man. I said, you don't have to preach to me. I said, I'm not in denial. So anyways, dude, I was like, they were like, no, it's $220. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. I just was like, I'm not going to pay shit because I was pissed, right? So I'm walking out. She goes, sir, she goes, I have your ID. She had my ID still. I'm like, oh, so you're going to hold my fucking ID hostage, right? So I'm like, basically in my head, I'm thinking, I'm like, if they call the cops and I'm like, listen, they quoted me $190. Now they want $220. Their cops are going to laugh at them. So anyways, the doctor was like, just charge him. Long story short, after me arguing with this Indian guy, he was like, he was like, just charge him $190 or whatever. Cause I was telling him, I said, listen, she told me $190. We went over because of you. So don't be giving me that shit, right? But I only did this because we went to a holistic nutritionist doctor for my kid when he was like 1 year old. And they told us $190 when we got in there. And then they said $290 when we got out. Mm. And I said, what? And they were like, you went over by 30 minutes. We charge an extra so-and-so every 50 minutes. I said, first of all, you didn't tell us that.
Well, they should warn you before you run over. They should be like, okay.
That's exactly what I said. I said, first of all, you didn't tell us that. We just thought it was an appointment. Once we leave, we just pay them out. And second of all, if we were running low, you should have been like, hey, we're going to hit that amount. This is the right thing to do. Hey, we're going to hit that amount of that time limit. If you want to go an extra 50 minutes, it'll be this much. And you say, hey, yeah, I'm willing to pay you, or no, let's just cut it short. I'm fine with that. So, dude, that time I just was like, whatever. And I gave her my credit card, and I paid the extra $100 for the extra 30 minutes I was there. This time I was like, no motherfucking doctors. They try to rip you off, dude. They're rip-offs.
So, yeah, that's true. But I have 2 comments. So the first thing is this guy seems brainwashed by the Game Changers movie, which I don't know if you've watched it, but it's a ridiculous movie. And if you go on Joe Rogan has an interview where he has the game. Well, the best one is a vegan debate with an omnivore a year beforehand. I could send the link to you if you want to see it. But basically, the game change is ridiculous. They brought like 3 athletes. They're not at the top of their game. One is a strongman. He placed like 10th or something like that. I don't remember exactly. He's not in the top 5 of the world or anything. And these guys claim to be vegan. Obviously, the strongman is not natural.
Yeah.
It can't be vegan and natural. But it's not just that. When someone tells you have to be vegan to be healthy, I don't want to bore you with the details, but you can easily be vegan and be unhealthy, and you can easily eat meat and be healthy. It just depends on what you're eating.
It's all what you're eating. Exactly. It's all what you're. He was trying to tell me, he's like, all the top athletes are converting to veganism, and I'm like, oh.